Purposely. Your life, God's purpose. Listen at onpurposely.com.
Sunshine is medicinal. I remember years ago, doctors told my Grandpa Herbie that if he moved to Arizona, it would improve his health. The sunshine would be good for him. Well, he lived to be 95 or 96, I forget. And I'm so glad he did. You know, hanging around people who walk with Jesus, who is the light of the world, can be medicinal too. Hi, it's Erica. I want to welcome you to the Bible for Busy People. We are studying what God's Word says about life this week. And today, you and I are going to check out two Costco samples, Moses and John the Baptist. These men walked with God. They talked with God. And you could feel it when you were with them. I have a friend who's like that. Her name is Isa. She is friends with God. She trusts him, and it's evident when you look at her face. It's always shining with joy and peace and hope, and I love that about her. Isa shines because she keeps company with the light of the world. She spends time with him. That's what we're doing right now. So what do you say? We've got two dates. Let's keep our first date with Moses. Join me in Exodus chapter 34, beginning in verse 28. Moses remained there on the mountain with the Lord 40 days and 40 nights. In all that time, he ate no bread and drank no water. And the Lord wrote the terms of the covenant, the 10 commandments, on the stone tablets. When Moses came down Mount Sinai carrying the 2 stone tablets inscribed with the terms of the covenant, he wasn't aware that his face had become radiant because he had spoken to the Lord. So when Aaron and the people of Israel saw the radiance of Moses' face, they were afraid to come near him. But Moses called out to them and asked Aaron and all the leaders of the community to come over, and he talked with them. Then all the people of Israel approached him, and Moses gave them all the instructions the Lord had given him on Mount Sinai. When Moses finished speaking with them, he covered his face with a veil. But whenever he went into the tent of meeting to speak with the Lord, he would remove the veil until he came out again. Then he would give the people whatever instructions the Lord had given him. Check this out, verse 35. And the people of Israel would see the radiant glow of his face. So he would put the veil over his face until he returned to speak with the Lord. Moses came out of his time with the Lord shiny, almost like picture a bright sunburn. And to me, this is so beautiful. How do you shine? You spend time with God. What you're doing right now, taking time in the middle of your busy day to say, God, you're the most important person in my life. I want to spend time with you. I know that I can only be the light of the world. I can only shine if I'm spending time with you. Look at you doing it. Okay, we've got a second date to keep with John the Baptist. As you and I turn to John chapter 5, quick note, this gospel was written by John the disciple. He's about to share what Jesus said about John the Baptist. John the Baptist was Jesus's cousin. He was the one who preached in the wilderness. He called people to turn back to God. And he was an interesting individual. He ate locusts and honey, and he wore animal skins. And he was one of the coolest people who ever lived. He had a remarkable job. He was the trailer, so to speak, saying that the movie of Jesus was coming. John the Baptist had such an important role to play, and you and I do too. All right, so here we go. We're going to be in John chapter 5, beginning in verse 31. This is Jesus addressing the religious rulers who were always on his back. All right, if I were to testify on my own behalf, my testimony would not be valid. But someone else is also testifying about me. And I assure you that everything he says about me is true. Of course, I have no need of human witnesses, but I say these things so you might be saved. John was like a burning and shining lamp. I want to be like that too, don't you? And you were excited for a while about his message. But I have a greater witness than John, my teachings and my miracles. The Father gave me these works to accomplish, and they prove that he sent me. John the Baptist paved the way. He shined his light so brightly in the darkness of those times. In a sense, he set the table for the coming of Jesus. Think about it. If you throw a big party or host a special dinner for an honored guest, setting the table is so important, isn't it? It shows respect and honor. That's what John the Baptist did. He told everybody who would listen that hope was coming. There were no forks involved, though. Okay, I want to turn to Matthew chapter 11 and read verse 11. Just one verse, because I want you to hear what Jesus felt about John the Baptist and how much he loved him and respected him and honored the role that he carried out so beautifully on this planet for the Lord. So this is what Jesus says about his cousin, John the Baptist. I tell you the truth, of all who have ever lived, none is greater than John the Baptist. Yet even the least person in the kingdom of heaven is greater than he is. You can hear in those words how much Jesus loved John the Baptist. John had a role, Moses had a role, and you and I have a role. But we all have something in common. Our roles might look different, but all of us are called to be the light of the world. How can we do that? How can we live that out? By keeping close to the one true light, to Jesus. You know, Psalm 34, verse 5 says, those who look to him for help will be radiant with joy. No shadow of shame will darken their faces. You and I can look to the light of the world for help, and our faces will shine with joy. Isn't that a beautiful picture? All right, until next time, you are so loved. Thank you so much for listening to the Bible for Busy People. If you need prayer or you're ready to go a little deeper in your faith, we've posted some resources for you in our show notes. We'd love for you to share this podcast with a friend and leave us a review. It helps us reach even more people with the hope of Jesus. This podcast is part of Purposely, a podcast network designed with practical podcasts to help you find and live in God's purpose for your life. Find more podcasts that will recharge you at onpurposely.com.